Hello out there in the wonderful world of online learning. On this day, I would like to introduce you to the idea of spreadsheets. And so there's going to be a lot that goes in on this. So if you need to pause the video every so often, please do so. So let's start off here. First off, in the spreadsheet that I gave to you, you have two tabs. Each one of these is called a tab down here. Sometimes they can be called pages as well. So we have two sheets, two pages. Now Google has oddly named this whole app is called Google Sheets. So when I say Google open your sheet, I mean the document, and then down here you also have sheets. So I'm going to call these pages rather than individual sheets. Okay, when we look at a sheet, notice that we have an A, B, C, D. These are my columns. So this is column A, column B, etc. And if we scroll over, we see by default, it goes all the way to column Z. So columns go up and down, just like a column that supports a building. Now a row, so this is row 1, row 2, row 10, goes horizontal. Now by default, a sheet goes down to 1,000. So you have this massive spreadsheet and it just keeps going. So what we're going to do today is we're going to clean this up. So look at the second sheet here, the second page, and we're going to see the tasks that we're going to accomplish today. So let's zoom in a bit here and we see we're going to rename the sheets, that is rename each of the pages. I'm going to show you how to insert checkboxes because I'm going to turn this here into a to-do list. We're going to center and bold titles so they're easier to read. We're going to wrap text. I'll explain that in a moment. We're going to look at something called headers. We're going to clean up so that we only see the part of the spreadsheet that we want to use. We're going to autofill. This is the power of the spreadsheet. I'll show you a few formulas and we're going to format tables. So let's start by naming the sheets. So if you go down here, you have two options. You can either right click on this or you can control click. That tends to give you a secondary, or just clicking on the triangle here. So we're going to rename. And this one here, I'm just going to call my table. Or notice that it's talking about the number of blah blahs, whatever that is. So I'm done with that. Now you can also double tap here to rename this, and this is going to be my checklist. So by default in this class, we're going to always name these, just like we're going to have a title up here as well. Now yours already has a title. It has your name in it along with a title that looks something similar to this. But Google by default has untitled or something like that up on the top. So always change that. All right. So we've done the name sheets. So now what? How do I talk about completed? So I'm going to clean up a little bit over here. So one thing you can do is we're going to put a checkbox. So we're actually going to do the second one right now. So just select this cell. Each of these rectangles is called a cell, and it actually has a name. This cell's name is A2. This cell's name is E3. E3. Where they intersect is right here. So let's select that cell, A2, and go up to Insert. And notice down here, there's a bunch of things we can insert, but for now, let's just insert a checkbox. And there we go. Now, this guy right there, let's zoom in a little bit here and show you what I mean here. So this little square right there, that is extremely important handle. We're going to grab that and drag around. So watch the power. So hover over it. Notice my icon has changed. And we're going to click and drag down. So notice the highlighting occurs and let go. So what we've just done is autofill. We have actually shown you how to autofill a little bit. We're going to show you more of that in a minute. So there's an autofill. Autofill also works like this. Notice if I have 1, 2, 3 like this, and I click these and I start autofilling, notice it's going to automatically count for me. So there's the power of a spreadsheet. So number one, we've already named the sheets, so I'm going to click that. I've created my text boxes, done. Now I'm going to center and bold my titles. So notice here I have a title of this spreadsheet here, or excuse me, not the spreadsheet, just this table right there. And I have a title, so I have a title over there. So let's go ahead and center and bold the titles. So if you click on this, click and drag, so you can select more than one cell, click, drag, like that. So don't release the click. You click, drag, like that. And you can click and drag this and click and drag multiple like so, and we'll do that. Another thing you can do is click, and notice down here I'm holding down the shift button. So shift and then just click somewhere else. So click, hold down the shift button and click somewhere else, and it'll do cell selection that way. So up here, click and select these two here. So according to my checklist, I want to center and bold the titles. Center and bold. So see this up here, this right here says merge my cells. So when I tap on that, oh, look, that little line has gone away. Let me show you that again. I'm going to undo real quick. So you see that there are two cells here, and then when I merge them, it's just one big cell. Now that I've done that, I'm going to do the same thing up here to this table here. So I'm going to merge that one. Now, on this keyboard down here, this button is the control button. So you're going to look for either the control button spelled like this, or you might see the control button on some computers spelled like this, CTRL. So if you were to hold down, you select a cell, hold down the control button, and then select something else, notice I can select 5 cells, 10 cells, all at once. So the control button on your Chromebooks, I'm using a Mac, so I'm using this command button, but you're going to use the control button. If I said the shift button, shift selects everything in between. The control button selects just things that I touch. All right. So I'm going to select this title here and this title here. So I'm going to edit both of these at the same time. So notice up here, you've got your bold, italic, etc. So I'm going to bold it. Yeah, bolded there. On top of that, I can align this so things go to the left, center, or right. So I'm going to center it. So notice how this got centered and this got centered over here. Let me reselect both of those. And I'm also going to vertically align. What does that mean? You can't really tell here, but notice if I were to merge a few things here and I type in a title right there. Notice where that is. It's at the bottom of the cell. So watch what happens when I adjust some things. This is going to center this way, and this one's going to center horizontally. So now my title is now in the center of the box. Now I don't need any of this. I'm going to get rid of that. All right, so we've got the title. We've centered and we bolded the titles. Boom. All right, the next thing on our list is called wrap text. Wrap text. Notice you can actually see these guys right here? This cell has all these words in it, center and bold titles. This one has all these words in it, but they go over into the next cell. So if I were to type something here, notice center and bold, center and bold what? Oh, it says it up there, but it cuts off, or down here it goes over, called overflow. So how do I clean that up? How do I make all my words fit inside right here? Well, watch the magic here. If I were to select this, and this button over here says text wrapping, I can overflow like it is doing now. I can wrap it, or I can cut it, clip it, truncate it. So I'm going to select the middle one. Watch what happens. Whoa. It adjusts the height here so that all the text fits in there. I'm going to repeat that process for this one right here and do that. Boom. Now I might want to do that for everything. I could, if I select the entire column up there, I could do that right here and wrap everything. Notice nothing else changes because only these two right here were needed. I did forget to do center and bold. I want to do that up here a little bit. So if I select both of those, I can center that, center here, and I'm going to bold right there. Notice this completed it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So how do I make it? Notice that if I try to wrap it, it splits the word up. And I don't want to do that because I want the word to be complete, ironically. So notice here, if I hover over the edge of any of these cells, in particular this column top, the icon changes. So if you click and drag a little bit, it makes it wider right there. So for C, I'm just going to practice that. I can make it as wide as I want. Notice it's very wide. Or I can make it as thin as I want, like this. So it doesn't actually matter. C, I'm going to get rid of in a little bit anyways. So I've now center and bolded the titles, in this case, the heading of the column. And my titles here. Let me go ahead and I can clean these up too. Notice that I want to get wrapping. I want all these things to wrap well. So I'm just selecting them and wrapping like that. And there we go. Okay, so let's see. I've wrapped the text. Is there anything else that needs to be wrapped? Nope. These numbers down here don't need to be. Okay, checklist done. Let me explain what a header is. A header. A header is the thing that's on the top, but notice this here. I see the word title up here, but when I start to scroll down, I don't even know what this is. What do these numbers mean? Because there's nothing on the top anymore, and I don't know what's even over here. So I can lock these in place right here. Lock. So watch this. Google has these little shaded sections right here. If you click and drag, I'm going to drag 1, drag down 2. Now watch what happens here. When I scroll down like this, and by the way, I'm scrolling with 2 fingers. I'm just grabbing 2 fingers on the trackpad and doing that. Another way to scroll is you can just click over here, or you can click and drag over here. But I'm just scrolling with 2 fingers, just 2 fingers up and down. So notice as I scroll, oh look, these are locked in place. Isn't that amazing? That's beautiful, because now when I scroll, I still see that these are called headers. Now maybe I wanted this to be a header as well. I don't know. And in fact, I could change that if I move some things around. So I could actually move this entire section right here. I'm going to select all of this. And if you do Control X, that's going to cut it out. Or if you right click, you can see that I'm going to cut. On my Mac, it's Command X, but on your Chromebooks or PC, it's going to be Control X. So Control X, notice it's highlighted, it's not going away, but if I tap right here and Control V, it's going to move it up. Now watch. Oh look, see, this is now some sort of a header for that table too. So what was it again? Let me show you how to do it. Right now it's not a header, and I want to move the whole thing up. So I tap this. I'm going to hold the Shift button down, Shift, so it selects all that. When you do Control, or on a Mac, Command X, it highlights it saying we're going to move this somewhere. I can move it anywhere I want. Control V puts it over here. Control V can put it anywhere that you want. So let's go and do that again. Control X, and up here Control V. And so now the summary of the tables of blah blahs right there is a title. Let me see if I want to make changes there. Oh, might as well. Let's go ahead and make this into a header right there. So now if I scroll down, all of that's taken care of. Good. So I've done headers. Now, delete unused. Beep, 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 beep. For the love of all that is holy and good in this universe, I ask that every single spreadsheet that you make, you will do this right here. Delete unused. Oh, there's a spelling error. Let's go ahead and fix that while we're here. Delete unused. So go ahead and select into there and unused rows. Okay, so like I mentioned out before, if I click and drag over here, it goes all the way to Z. Highly unnecessary, considering I only need two columns here. And this puppy down here, let me scroll here, all the way down to 1,000. Holy high hurdles. We don't need any of that. So watch the magic on this. Click on C, just let go of everything. And then scroll. You can scroll again with 2 fingers back and forth, or you can drag this little guy down here all the way over. Now hold down the Shift button, hold down the Shift button and select Z over there. Now it's just selected the entire, all the way C to Z. Now, if you hover up and see that little triangle there, you can click on the triangle, or you can right-click up there. What do I mean by right-click? On a mouse, you'll have a right-click, and it looks like this when you click. It does that. Or on your Chromebooks, if you just tap with two fingers like that, not one finger, tap with two fingers, you'll get the right-click option. But you can also just click on that little triangle. What we're going to do is delete those columns. Boom, delete, all gone. So let me just show you again. So I'm going to go a little normal speed here. I'm going to hit the C right there. I'm going to scroll all the way over, hold down the Shift button like I did, and tap Z, right click, and delete the columns. Dun, 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 dun. We did it. Now let's clean up down here too. You don't have to go to 11 right here. You can, this one goes to 11. You can start at 12. Maybe you want some buffer down there. Who knows? So I'm just going to select the 12, and we're going to do the same thing. But instead of scrolling with two fingers, because to go down to 1,000 will take a while, I'm going to grab this little handle and drag all the way down. Shift, notice I've pressed the Shift button, 1,000. Right click, which is just tap with two fingers, and delete the rows. And notice, here we go. It's a very clean table. I'm going to undo that and show you again. Click on 12, grab the handle to the right here, scroll all the way down, Shift button, click on the 1,000 or wherever you want to delete, right click, and delete. Nice and clean. So let's do the same thing over here. Notice that I don't need beyond the F. So select F, slide over, Shift, right click, delete. Down here, it goes all the way to 41. So I'm going to select 42, grab that handle, slide down, Shift, right click, and delete. And look at that. So much more clean. So we've deleted unused rows and columns. Select that. Autofill. Okay, that's also misspelled, so please change that. And what do I mean by autofill? We've already talked about autofilling here. Remember earlier, we grabbed that handle and we dragged down and it autofilled? That's nice. Autofill does more things too. So if you select the 1 and the 2 at the same time, how did I do that? You can click and drag like that, or you can do click, shift, click. Okay. Now we have the handle. So if you start clicking and if you click and drag, notice it starts to autofill down to 6. So I'm going to click, drag, and just keep going all the way down. And it goes to 39. It automatically fills in right there. Automatically fills in. Super powerful. Autofill. Something you're going to use quite frequently. And again, notice that I can autofill not just with, if I want the same thing over and over again, just one. Look, one autofill all the way down. But if I wanted to establish a pattern, I say 1, 2, like this, and then you select them both, saying my pattern is go up by 1, and do that. Now let's see what happens. I don't know what happens if I change that to a 3. Let's see if it changes and just goes up by 2. Let's see. Yeah, what do you know? All the odd numbers. So you can establish the pattern with 1 or 2, and then the spreadsheet will go from there. All right. So we've now autofilled. Boom. And now let's look at some formulas and tables. I'm actually going to do the tables now because that's an aesthetics thing. I like it to look a little more purdy. So let me see here. All right. Watch the magic here. I'm going to select a table. So here, if I click and drag, oops, I didn't grab enough. So let me click and drag, and now. So I have a table here. Google automatically can format this so it looks really nice. So go up to the Format button here and go to Alternating Colors. So watch the magic. Look, whatever you want. Oh, I want it to be the green, like this. Let me reselect and say, well, maybe I want this pinkish thing, right? Maybe I select it and make it a brighter green. whatever cranks your tractor, whatever floats your boat. I don't mind whichever one you're going to do. So I'm going to go with 2 separate colors. I'm going to go with the darker green here. And for this one, remember, if you hold the shift button down, it's going to select all that. So you don't have to click and drag all the way down. Again, just select the cell, scroll up, and hit the shift button, and it's going to automatically select. And now, let's see if one of these buttons works over here. It doesn't. It hasn't selected. So I'm going to format again, alternate colors, and now it's focusing just on this one here. So you have different colors, or you have the same. You could have chosen the same colors if that's what you like. And over in the checklist, I'm going to do the same thing. Now notice this entire table is the entire sheet, right? Because we deleted stuff. So I'm going to show you a shortcut. If you select this, whatever is under the FX there, FX means formula. If you select that, it selects the entire table. Let me show you again, or the whole entire sheet. Watch this. Boom, it selects everything. Now since on this page, I'm not trying to alternate colors for the whole thing. I'm just doing it for the table. That's why I didn't select there. But here I can select everything. And I don't think it's going to change colors. Oh, it does there. If it didn't do that, otherwise I would go up to Format and Alternate Colors. So there we go. Maybe I want separate colors. Maybe I like the purple. So I'll go with the purple. Notice that even the check boxes there are a little bit darker. So we formatted the table. So far, look all the cleaning up that we've done. We have tables that look cleaner. We can read them a little bit easier. We have deleted all these extra rows and columns. We've also locked in the headers up at the top. By the way, you can lock in a header to the right and left too, but this one we can't do it because of that title there. Okay, so the very last thing I want to show you is something called formulas. And again, this is the power of the spreadsheet. So, a total number of blah blahs. What does that even mean? Well, here are my blah blahs right here. And on week 1, I counted 14 of them. Week 2, I counted 12 of them, etc. And I want to know the total of it. How many total blah blahs did I count? So watch this. Select the cell, and then you hit the equal button. Equal. What that does is it tells any spreadsheet that we're now making a formula. The most simple formula is this. Grab this one over here. So notice it says this cell, which is E3, equals whatever is over in B3. So watch. You don't have to do this. Just watch this. And hit enter. So it pulls over the 14. So watch this. I'm going to change this, but I'll change it back. If I change that to 88, notice that when I hit enter, this is going to change also. Boom. Why? Because I have said, according to this formula, whatever is in this cell will automatically go over to there. Now I'm going to undo this, Control C, or if you're on a Mac, Command C. So I want a different formula. I want all of them, a total, a count. I want to add them up. I want a sum. So hit equals and type in the word sum, begin parentheses, and then all we're going to do is click and drag all of these over here. So it's going to add up everything. And let me talk to you about what this does right here, just so that we understand a little bit about what's happening. B is the column number, and 3 is the row. So the cell B3, and the colon here means all the way to or through. So B3 through B41. So it says add up, sum, everything in there. Okay, so now I hit end parenthesis, and I hit equals. And let's see. Oh, look. It says that in the total number of blah blahs that we counted was 1,382. And there we go. What about the average? Well, we're going to do the same thing. It's a formula, so do equals. And we're going to start typing in the word average. Oh, look, average shows up right there. There's a whole bunch of other formulas, but right now the most simple is average. And it says I want the average number of blah blahs. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. Click here. And you can do the shift. I'm going to do shift in this case. But notice it looks exactly the same. It's still the B3 through B41. Okay. Now I'm going to end parenthesis and hit enter. Wait, where'd it go? Oh, it's up there. Now notice it goes all the way out, 6 or 7 decimal places. So maybe I don't want it to be that accurate. there's a little button right here that says decrease decimal places. So click once, it drops one. It doesn't just drop it, it rounds it. So notice that this 9 is now going to become 0 because that 7 is going to go up. So watch, boom, 9 becomes 0. Now, so I'm going to go and we're going to go here to 35.4. So the average number of blah blahs per week pretty much is 35.4. Now, what's the highest number? The highest number, that's a maximum. So do equals, type in max. Oh, max says the maximum value in a numeric data set. So hit max, parentheses already begun for you. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. Click, and you can drag or do the shift option here. End parenthesis, and hit enter. So it says, what is the max? Oh, the max is 112, which means in 1 week, somewhere down here. Oh, look, week 31, I found that. Okay, lowest number of blah blahs. Instead of maximum, that's a minimum. So watch, equals, type in minimum, begin, parenthesis. Now, I'm actually going to type in the stuff we did before, B3, colon, and B41. So I typed it in instead of dragging. And notice that it automatically highlights it, and it did highlight exactly what I wanted. End parenthesis, hit enter. The lowest number of blah blahs counted in 1 week was 2, and clearly we see that's clearly, oh, at the top there. There it is. All right, and range. You might have forgotten what range is, but range is the maximum minus the minimum. It's a single number. How much? So you can do a couple different ways for range. You can say equals the maximum of all of these here minus the minimum, or you can say, well, I already have the max and mins here, so I can say this one minus, so I press the minus button, which is right there, and select that one. Just click on it. Notice the color coding here so you can see the orange and the purple. So it's this number, whatever's in that cell, minus this number here, and hit enter. And now we have a range. So these are a few formulas that we've looked at. The sum formula. We've looked at the average, also sometimes called mean. The highest, so that's my max. My lowest is minimum, and range is there. And we're going to look at a whole bunch of formulas throughout this year, but that's just a quick introduction. Make sure that when you finish this assignment, you hit the turn in, and so it's got to look pretty perfect like this. Thank you very much.